Thank you, Catherine, for welcoming us to Treaty 6 and grounding us in this place. Thank you, Nathan, for that kind introduction. And thank you, Catherine and Nathan, for agreeing to serve as the campaign co-chairs. And thank you all for being here this morning. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. Can you tell that I dressed for the Super Bowl? I put on my Taylor Swift red lipstick. I'm so happy to be here with you today in Woodcroft Hall, which is where my elected provincial career began. It was right here at a contested nomination to be your Alberta NDP candidate in Edmonton-Glenora. And together, we beat a Conservative cabinet minister. We took this riding for the very first time ever, and we formed the first NDP government in Alberta history. Let's do it again. We must do it again. We must do it again because our values as New Democrats are crucial to solving the problems that we're facing today. We must fix public health care after 5 years of UCP sabotage. We must get every Albertan safe and affordable homes after 5 years of UCP cruelty. And we must urgently respond to the climate crisis that threatens our way of life. So let me tell you how I got here in the first place. Let me take you back to where it really all began because my mom is here. Hi, Mom. Stand up, Mom. Give everyone a wave. Let's get a cheer for my mom. My mom knows this history, but some of you may not. I was raised in a very small town. In fact, it's a hamlet. It's called Canuso, and it's between Slave Lake and High Prairie, about 3 hours north of here. It's surrounded by the Swan River First Nation. My dad was the principal at our public school, and my mom taught kindergarten. And Ralph Klein was the premier. Yeah. His cuts were absolutely brutal. His cuts meant that our school was struggling, and I remember my dad having every other light bulb in our school taken out to try to save one teacher's job. I had so much respect for the work that both of my parents did at the school and all of the staff did there to try to support our community, to support kids, to support families. And I wanted to be a teacher too. But when I told my dad, he said, "Don't do it." He said, "Teachers aren't respected in Alberta." He said, "They're not valued by our government." But like most times when somebody told me something would be difficult, I did it anyway. So I came here to Edmonton to study, and when I was training to be a teacher is when I got involved with the NDP. And one time Jack Layton came to visit, and I volunteered to drive him around. I had a little red Honda hatchback. I was worried it wouldn't be fancy enough for him. It was. I saw him walk through airport security, and I headed straight over to him with my hand out, and I said, "Hi, Jack," in the middle of an airport. My heart stopped, but neither of us got arrested. We both made it out of the building, and Jack's time in Edmonton was amazing. He was so busy. He always ran from event to event, from meeting to meeting. And I remember saying to him, "You must be exhausted." And he said, "Don't feel sorry for me. I worked so hard to be this busy in service of our party and our values." And that's exactly how I feel. Leading the party for him was his proudest point in his working history. Those volunteer opportunities that I had getting to know him eventually turned into a job with the NDP caucus here in Alberta. And then about 6 months after I started working for the NDP, there was a new MLA who came on the scene. Her name's Rachel Notley. She and I worked very closely together, especially on issues of child welfare. And as a result, cuts to foster families were reversed, 2 PC cabinet ministers were ousted, and the children's advocate finally became an independent officer of the legislature. One night, Rachel and I were watching the Edmonton Public School Board respond to Conservative cuts by closing neighborhood schools. And Rachel turned to me and she said, "You should run for the school board." It was 2010 and the Conservatives wanted to close dozens of neighborhood schools, and I really hadn't considered public office for myself. Because women aren't like me, we're not supposed to go into politics. I'm fat, I'm sassy, and I have a really hard time pretending to be somebody I'm not. up against an incumbent trustee who was a principal at one of the schools, and he'd been the assistant superintendent before that. But if those schools closed, then hundreds of families would have to put their kids on long bus rides to overcrowded classrooms. So I said, let's do it. And a group of feisty NDP volunteers got together. Many of you are in this room. We fundraised for a leaflet. I bought a new pair of running shoes, and we door knocked that ward. That was the campaign. That was the campaign. Yeah, here for door knocking. Ashley, the queen of door knocking over there. We walked that leaflet all over the riding. That was the campaign. We talked to people on their doorsteps, and guess what? We knew it was going to be difficult, but we did it anyway. I ran, I won, and we kept those schools open. We kept kids learning in their neighborhood schools, and we saved the jobs of staff who supported their learning. So it's so great to see teachers, CUPE members, and Edmonton Public families here today. I am very proud of my record as a 2-term trustee and chair of the Edmonton Public School Board. I was 30 years old and in charge of a $1 billion budget, and it was a steep learning curve. But I had some fantastic progressive people working alongside me, like Michael Jans. Whatever happened to that guy anyway? Serious. And later Nathan Ip and Ray Martin joined me too. We brought in the first comprehensive policy to protect 2S LGBTQ+ students, staff, and families. That's my record, and you know where I stand on human rights, and that absolutely means standing up for trans rights too. I was the chair of the Edmonton Public School Board in 2015 when Rachel asked me to run provincially. She said to me, instead of trying to limit the damage that Conservatives are doing to our schools, how about we go ahead and change the government? It wouldn't be easy. I'd be going up against an incumbent Conservative cabinet minister, but with the help of so many of you in this room, we ended 44 years of one-party rule in Alberta. We gave progressive Albertans a real choice, something to feel excited about voting for, and for me, that started right here in this room. As your Minister of Health, I ended Conservative experiments in privatizing healthcare and built the Calgary Cancer Centre as well as the new ER at the Miz, right here in Edmonton. I changed the law to stop harassment outside of abortion clinics to make sure that we made sure that we were the first province in Alberta to fully fund the abortion pill for people who needed to access it. I dramatically cut wait times for breast cancer surgeries. I connected more patients with midwives than ever before. And we followed the science on harm reduction, and that saved lives. My friends, I am so proud of what we achieved together in our first Alberta NDP government. So help me out with something. Remind me, who modernized and built hundreds of schools? We did! That's right, we did. Yes, we did. We legally protected the rights and privacies of students who wanted gay-straight alliances. Who did that again? We did! And who cut child poverty in half? We did! Heck yeah, we did. I'm so proud of our record, and every single one of you in this room, every single New Democrat should be proud of that record too. Friends, our work is not finished. In fact, we know things have gotten much worse in the past 5 years under the UCP. Every day, we see our public health care sabotaged by Danielle Smith. We see longer wait times for emergency care, longer drives for rural parents wanting to deliver a baby that have to go further and further from home. And so many Albertans can't find a family doctor. But just last month, there was something that really shook me. Alberta withdrew from the National Kidney Donation Program because we don't have enough surgical capacity in Alberta. That is outrageous. I commit to you that as your Premier, I will rebuild our publicly funded and publicly delivered health care to the Public health care is in our DNA as New Democrats, and so is housing. Our most vulnerable neighborhoods are being forced into tents in -40 and then forced into overwhelmed emergency shelters where they often don't feel safe. That is absolutely heartbreaking. Young people in rural communities trying to start a career or a family are struggling to find a home that they can afford. Rents in Calgary are rising faster than anywhere else in the country, and working people are missing meals to cover their rent or pay their mortgage. So many Albertans are struggling with the cost of living, and their single biggest expense is keeping a roof over their heads. So as your Premier, I will fix the housing crisis. We will build new homes, and we will keep them affordable, and I won't stop until we get the job done. And a few weeks ago, I was meeting with some folks in Red Deer. I shared that I was thinking about running for leader, and when I asked them what mattered to them, what they were looking for in a leader, one of them said to me, "Well, I'm really worried about climate change, but I don't think we're allowed to talk about that." Well, guess what? We're going to talk about climate change. When it's barely February and farmers are already preparing for catastrophic drought, we need to talk about climate change. When hundreds of thousands of Canadians are in evacuation orders in the face of last summer's wildfires, we need to talk about climate change. And when we can't let our kids go outside to play on a summer's day because the air isn't safe for them to breathe, we need to do more than talk about climate change. We need to act on climate change. And maybe it's going to be difficult, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because if not now, then when? And if not us, then seriously who? We must win the next election to take urgent action that so many Albertans need us to, that they're counting on us to do. And I've won 5 elections in a row by working my ass off and staying true to my values. And as your leader, I will return us to government in 2027. This leadership contest is about who we are as New Democrats, and we're going to have some differences of opinion, and that is healthy. But I'm not running to be a leader of some kind of repackaged Liberal Party. That's just not who I am. I am and will always be a proud Alberta New Democrat. That's the party I've knocked on doors for in every corner of this party. It's the party I've raised money for. It's the party that I've recruited so many candidates to run for. And it's the Alberta NDP that came so close to winning last year's election. It's the Alberta NDP that will win the next election. So I pledge to you, I will show up in person to work with you to help us build our party in Edmonton, in Calgary, in communities large and small right across this province. I come from rural Alberta, and it's not okay with me that in my hometown, Canuso, there's a UCP MLA, so that's gonna change. I pledge a positive leadership campaign about forward-looking ideas free from personal attacks in public or in private. And I invite my fellow contestants to join me in making that same pledge. And lastly, I pledge to you that I will never be shy about confronting the lies of the UCP. I will always speak up for our values and for our record, because you know who I am. I'm a proud New Democrat with a proven record of getting the job done. So I invite you to join me. I invite you to volunteer, to donate, to bring your friends along. Let's build the party that we're all proud of. Let's build the Alberta NDP, because the time is now.